Always.
Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Powell? Yes. Mr. Holmes?
Yep.
Dr. Marion?
Yes.
Mr. George? Mrs. Bird?
Yes.
Mr. Pratt?
Here.
Please note Mr. Christopher.
That is excused. All right, I need a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
Mr. George, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next, we have a comment from the public. Okay, same as what I read before. Everybody's still in here, so. First up, we have Jada Spears.
Good evening, Fort Zumwalt Board, Superintendent St. Pierre, staff, and community members. My name is Jada Spears, and I have 3 children in the Fort Zumwalt School District. I have a 7th grader at DeBray Middle, and a junior and a senior at Fort Zumwalt East. And all 3 of my children have greatly benefited from all of their experiences at the district. My senior is a fantastic student and student athlete. He received the President's Education Award for outstanding academic excellence in elementary school and in middle school. He carried that through to high school, where he's an honor student on an AP course load and participating in the Project Lead the Way for Engineering program. He's worked to establish the Mock Trial Club at East and was recently nominated to be in the Leader League program. He is a multi-year recipient or letter recipient and all-conference, all-academic for track. He is a district qualifier in the 110-meter hurdles and also a junior Olympic qualifier with USA Track and Field. As you can tell, I am incredibly proud of his accomplishments, both in the classroom and on the track. And that's why I'm standing before you today, to thank you for all of those opportunities and to also ask for your help and partnership. As excited and grateful as I am for my son's senior year, I'm also frustrated and angry because he may have to choose between competing at the state track meet and attending his high school graduation. Fort Zumwalt's graduation ceremonies are scheduled on the same day as one of MISHA's track events, either districts, sectionals, or the state meet itself. This is an issue that should not exist, a choice a student athlete should not have to make. And on my son's sophomore year, our top distance runner, he missed his high school graduation to compete at the state meet. At this time, I thought it was a terribly unfortunate, isolated incident until last year, where multiple students had to choose between participating in the sectional meet or attend their high school graduation. It was at that time that I learned that this was the norm for Fort Zumwalt. This issue impacts all senior track and field athletes at all high schools in the district, and the conflict also impacts baseball, boys volleyball, and soccer. As a mother, it's heartbreaking to think that my son may have to choose between these 2 important milestones. As a taxpayer, it's unacceptable that any student would have to be forced to make this tough decision. I urge you to have a discussion about this fixable issue so our spring sport athletes are no longer forced to make this choice. And I just want to add in, all 3 of my kiddos are track athletes, so it's possible I may never attend a high school graduation. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dino?
Good evening once again. You heard me speak at the tax levy. I thought it was being recorded, documented, put out to the community. No, it's being squashed, being non-transparent, and being hidden to the citizens that we had a tax levy hearing. There is no transparency, hiding and limiting public information of this district. Holding the public hearing at 5:30 is just wrong. It's immoral, it's unethical. Nobody expects a tax levy hearing to be before the board meeting. No other political subdivisions in our state that I know of hold a separate public tax levy hearing. You hold it before because you want to squash the citizens and you don't want to hear the citizens on the tax rates. Obviously, a rubber stamping Board of Education. You published the notice in the Business Journal, which was ridiculous, only advertised to 4 of our high schools, but not the city halls and other political subdivisions throughout the state, and that's shameful to the citizens that we would have elected officials that do that. Our assessed valuation is greatly growing every 2 years. This year it went up an average of 7 to 15% in our district, 12% new construction, both residential and commercial, and we get a substantial bump up, a substantial increase in investment interest rate. I recommended the tax levies during the tax levy hearing at $4.0700 per 100 assessed valuation, a decrease of 56.2 cents per 100 assessed valuation across the district. Taxpayers deserve a tax break, and I'd like to see the district try to entertain that, because you obviously want to spend our tax dollars in suing the state of Missouri on a tax relief, tax reform bill, Senate Bill 3, that was passed by the state legislature about a month ago. On the agenda, E, I have some problems with the best choice agreement. There's no dollar amount, there's missing information, missing documents. Item F, the care agreement with HMIS agreement. Guess what? Todd Barnes, the person that's supposed to sign the agreement, is no longer employed by that agency as he retired this month. So he's no longer the director of that agency. LING or FGP agreement. Again, there's no dollar amount, missing agreements for foster parents. Exactly what are we paying for? H, GACL DOC agreement, $2,500. Is this the best software to serve disabled employees and disabled residents? I think not. I think there's a lot better things out on the market to assist disabled people or patrons or employees. And for those reasons, and then finally I ask that you drop Senate Bill 3, the engagement letter, and not employ the attorney firm.
Next,
Thank
we
you.
have our consent agenda. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Dr. Marion, second, Mr. Helms. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Financial reports.
Hello again. There you go, sorry. Financial reports, there's not too much to comment on this month. We've had 2 months of activity so far in the year, and so far our revenues and our expenses are on track with budget. We do have, when you look at, there's a comparative statement there to last year, and you'll see some fluctuations. Like last year, we had received $1 million almost in E-rate payments. This year was $100,000, so our other local looks like it dropped enough, but we planned for it. That's just how E-rate is, it fluctuates. And on the expenditure side, like I said, everything's right on target with what we budgeted month by month. What will stand out is our workers' comp. We actually have very good news there. We received a reimbursement check for our workers' comp. That's the first time in 3 years it's happened. The last 2 years we had a negative. This year we had a surplus. And what that essentially means is our claims were less than our premiums. And then we're in a statewide investment pool, and they do a very good job of us getting that back. If we were with a for-profit company, we probably wouldn't get it back, but since it's all the school districts together and even some municipalities, they do get that back. And similarly, we're looking at the same thing with our property insurance. We actually just talked to Music today, which is the insurer, and they were speaking very highly of our safety programs and how that's led to lower claims. So I think we're doing good there. And then just one other note on the cash investments. I don't know if everybody's as nerdy as me and follows the Fed fund rates, but it was cut this week, which, that flows right down to our bank. So our interest that we're going to earn is less. One thing we did do, and we haven't done this before, is we bought a 12-month investment in CDs just at the higher rate. And we'll probably look at doing that some more, because we do have decent reserves so we can earn money on them. It's just, we think of investing as a school district, liquidity and safety, those are your only two things, you know, and plus the state kind of limits what you can buy. You can buy CDs and federal fund investments, so it's not like we can go crazy and buy stocks. So we typically just buy CDs or US Treasury bonds. Any questions on the financials?
I need a motion to approve the financial reports as presented. Mr. Holmes, second. Mr. George, any discussion? Right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Old business?
Thank you, Mrs. Powers. You do have in your packet a memo from me and an engagement letter from Tuith Keeney. This is old business because we have discussed this in multiple prior board meetings. We have, as a school district, already approved to take a role in the lawsuit challenging the constitutionality of Senate Bill 3. This is the final piece of that action that is required from the Board of Education to agree to this engagement letter with Tuith Keeney, and the final decisions that we have to make as a school district are to either be a named or a not named plaintiff, and if we would like to set a dollar cap that we would like to limit expenditures to provide us with some protection for that. So in my memo and my recommendation, I am recommending, this would be two separate recommendations, that we, for Zumwalt School District, are not a named plaintiff, and then also that we set that limit to not to exceed $5,000. This is a topic that, you know, I believe we continue to have in public and in open and in a transparent fashion. I believe setting the limit at $5,000 is a reasonable amount to kind of balance the desire to participate while also providing the district protection and continued stewardship. So those are my recommendations. I'm happy to entertain questions with the motion.
I need a motion to approve the district not to be named plaintiff. Mr. Helms, second. Dr. Marion, any discussion?
Yes, is there a date that they're gonna file?
There is not a date just yet. I'm told it'll be expected at the end of this month.
If this board was told we needed to rush in July to join it. The board voted to join it last month, and it still does not exist. Is that accurate?
That is accurate to my knowledge,
Okay.
yes.
And this is a lawsuit that the law firm that we employ created to have other school districts and entities piggyback onto?
Can you restate that? I'm sorry.
Seems like they're just making work and monetary revenue for themselves. Money. It still isn't here. We were told we had to get on this in July and then September, and they're just waiting for more and more and more people to piggyback onto this to create revenue for their firm. That's how it comes off to me.
Yeah, which I believe that would lower the rate that each, is just a matter of how many times are those fees divided up by the number of participants.
Is there a reason for recommending that we are an unnamed district? Which I prefer, by the way.
Yeah, and that's a matter for the board's discussion. I think it comes down to if this is a matter that the Fort Zumwalt School District and the Board of Education believes that we have done these discussions in public. We have had them multiple times in open session.
Which I do approve. I appreciate that we've been in open session with this while some other districts have not been. Yeah.
It's my recommendation. It's subject, of course, to the board's.
I have a question about $5,000. So,
Oh, we're just on the first one right now.
On the first one. Any other? All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Next, I need a motion to approve the initial contribution limit of $5,000. Motion, please.
Motion.
Ms. Byrd, second. Mr. George, Any discussion?
So the $5,000, is that just a flat rate for all of the attorney fees for this particular lawsuit? So, and I'm just trying to put some context in what Mr. Pratt was just speaking about, as far as the fees and whatnot. Like, are there fees outside of this $5,000, or is $5,000 it for what we're gonna pay for our portion of this?
Yeah, we would not exceed $5,000 for this particular lawsuit. Okay, so the $5,000 cap is specific to this issue.
Sorry. In reviewing the document too, it's not saying that we'll automatically be charged 5,000.
It is
Correct.
It gives the rate, so it may end up being 1,000, it may be 500, it could be, who knows, but it won't be more than 5, but it doesn't mean it will be 5.
Right.
And I appreciate that we put this maximum on it, because I have heard from community members the fear that tens of thousands of dollars will be spent on this. And so here it is, no, we're saying we're not gonna spend more than 5,000 right here.
Yeah.
And to kind of go with the last one, you know, with the upsetness, not everyone completely behind it, I can see that for being reason to not be named. If you asked, you know, when you asked why, in my mind,
Fair
I
enough.
wasn't making it.
It's hard for me to vote to join a lawsuit or to spend money on something that might stop the people from voting on this in April. Period. So I can't vote for it.
Anybody else? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Right, thank you.
Okay, next matter, we have an update on our continuous school improvement plan. And this item will not require action on the board's part. This is just an update. We have had a continuous school improvement plan that's been in place now for 2+ years. We're going on year 3. MSIP 6, which is the accrediting function for the school district and the by the State Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, does require that we give CSIP updates on a quarterly basis moving forward. And so we are going to start to introduce that, even though we don't fall under the MSIP 6 guidelines until next year. We're going to go ahead and introduce that this year. And so first up, right out of the gate, we're going to give our first quarter update as it pertains to recruitment and retention. And then our next quarter will focus on academic achievement, and then we'll kind of cascade throughout the year and hit the other focus areas as well. So Erin Williams is here, our Chief Human Resources Officer, and she's going to report on our update related to recruitment and retention for our continuous school. Get this projector fired up here.
Good evening. I was told not to touch the clicker until the presentation's up, so. We have some exciting news to present. So while JB's working on that, you might remember that the 2 goals that we had for recruitment and retention in our CSIP, focused on recruitment and retention, not too difficult to delineate that, but the first was that we were going to increase the number of applications per vacancy by 15%. Okay, so for every vacancy, we just wanted more applicants to be able to choose from. That's not it, but that's really cool. Yeah, that's it. The second goal was focused on retention, and we broke that up, and oh, great, thank you. Okay. So here was our first goal. Again, we wanted to increase the number of applications per vacancy by 15% for all of our categories. So custodians, certified staff, administrators, what have you. It was up. Oh, there it is. Okay. So what you see here shows overall, unfortunately we didn't hit that mark. We have from, where's my pointer here? 22, 23 to 24, 25. It's only about a 1% increase, not that 15%. but we averaged about 7 applicants per each of our postings. The applications received per year, you can see that it went up substantially last year, and you can see that in the applications per posting. It's a little, diving into that data, it's hard to tell if those were more unique applicants or more unique candidates or turnover. And we also along the way tried to streamline how our postings go out, just to, you know, help the candidate process. So if they were in the pool for one thing, they didn't have to keep reapplying for a pair at the Early Childhood Center, per se. So that's something that we're still working on. We're still continuing to advertise through Indeed, through billboards, through websites, through marquees. We even had ads going at the grocery cart place at Schnucks. Couldn't do that anymore, but it was fun to see our ads out there, just anything that we could do to create you know, some visibility in the community of the positions that we have here at Fort Zumwalt. So we're continuing to post. We have a large presence at our at job fairs around the area, as well as posting on Moat Reap and all the things like that. So that is our recruitment, retention, and everything else gets way better from here. Okay. So the second goal was to reduce the number of resignations in all of our categories by 20%. What you're going to see here on our teaching staff resignations, this breaks it up. The blue is our total. This color, the orange, I think, is resignations, and then gray are our retirements. So you can see this steady decrease overall. But we went from 99 resignations of our certified teaching staff to 61 last year. So that's a decrease of 38% in resignations of our staff members, which means that we have more experienced educators in our classrooms that's going to benefit our kids. So we're really excited about that number, and I don't know why that's my little star didn't come out quite right. Then you're also going to see our support staff resignations. So here is the 22-23 school year, and then, but what you're going to see is that it kind of tracks up. So I will tell you, I was running all of this data and started to freak out a little bit because anecdotally, the year just felt better last year. So diving into it a little bit more, we actually did reduce our resignation rate by 25% for our support staff. What happened was that we were just able to fill vacancies. So we had long-standing vacancies that we had not been able to fill in years that are now filled. And so that percentage was still coming down. So that is really, really exciting. It's exciting because we have principals that don't have a morning custodial run now. Paul Becker is not serving as a cashier at North Middle School on a regular basis. And we're, you know, the paras that we have are giving the kids the support that they need. And you can feel that in our buildings. It's just lowered the temperature all over when we have people that are in the buildings doing what they're great at.
Can I ask you a question?
Please.
Very encouraging numbers, so
Yeah.
thank you for all that work. On the previous page about the teachers' staff resignation and retirement, I don't know how far you teased that. That's a great number regardless. Have you tried to tease out how many, like, I'm not saying it very well, but I'm sitting there thinking, okay, how many people were eligible to retire who didn't? Do we know if we affected that group particularly? Like they decided to stay, and that's getting into the weeds a long way. But I don't know if you had thoughts of trying to figure that out. Or
I did not. That's something we're actually going to look at in a couple of slides about some tenure lengths of some of our employees. I don't have that for that group, but I can easily pull that
clearly
data.
It's an improvement. I mean,
For sure.
Great,
And
but it just
that-
would be interesting.
Yeah, and also to kind of add into that, we probably benefited just a little bit as the retirement system changed a little bit of their formula, and so they added another layer that changes the multiplier that goes into determining the teacher retirement figure.
Gotcha.
If you stay 32 years, you get a retirement calculation instead of 2.50%, it's 2.55%. So that basically also incentivized, we'll take it, you know,
Absolutely.
because it.
They helped us meet our goal.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right.
We'll take it any way we
Yeah.
can get it.
Yeah, no, good question. We'll get back here. So again, we added about 100 employees, 100 support staff employees to our buildings, and we're able to drop that turnover rate from 18.5% to, you know, right under 14%. So, I do want to point out, because some of the things that were added to just kind of enhance the overall culture of our district. You guys have been very supportive of increasing compensation when we can, and doing that strategically. The enhanced mentoring programs, which we're going to talk about in just a second, and then also the enrollment exceptions for our out-of-district or out-of-boundary staff members. Their kiddos being able to come here is a huge benefit for our staff members, and I know I talked with lots of folks that were very excited to be able to work here and bring their kiddos here. Okay. So one of the programs that you guys approved to roll out last year was our paraprofessional mentorship program. Paraprofessionals were one of our highest turnover areas. They have a tough job, but do amazing things for our kiddos. And so we started this last year. We have one mentor in each building that serves our paraprofessionals. So we were able to work with the HR team and the special services team to come together and think about what would that look like, what would that job be, how would we support them, and how would we train them. So what you see here is what a new para starting in our district receives. So they have a full 10 days of continual check-ins with a mentor before they're released, so to say. But that first 5 days is really intentional with some shadowing, some professional development, building connections, you know, like who's the lunch man or the kitchen manager if you're the kiddo that you're, you know, working with has some food sensitivities, the nurse that you're gonna go visit. Just all of those things of building connections to make people feel like they are a part of the building right from the get-go. So here you're going to see these are our new hires for paraprofessionals and then our resignations in the same year. So you can see that that gap is not very big year over year over year. And then last year we hired the most paraprofessionals that we had since 21-22 school year and had the least resignations. So we had 27 folks resign. But we're able to hire 93. And of those, here's our average tenure of the folks that did resign. So we went from an average of 682 days to 1,482. What that is just under 2 years to a little over 4 years of service. So again, we're getting more experienced folks in those seats to support kids. And our paraprofessional mentors are amazing. So we have one in each building. Like I said, they have a chat group, and they've been able to problem solve together beautifully. So Katie Bullock, who is our coordinator of elementary special services, and I are on that chat group. Very rarely do we have to pitch in with any comments, or they're able to work through problems together. We have mid-year check-ins with them. They are now part of building some, like the Lighthouse team. One of them sits in GLC meetings. They're on Lighthouse teams. They just feel like they are more a part of the team and having a voice that matters. And then this is the t-shirt that they all got. That they decided to do themselves. They're just a great group of people, and it's really fantastic that you guys approved this program to to be able to give them that extra support so that they can support our kids. So, I'm happy to answer any questions, but that's all I have for you. Thanks.
I'd just like to add, as Aaron has alluded to, recruitment and retention of staff is of utmost importance to doing what we do. It's a team effort to make improvements in these areas. It starts right here with the Board of Education. And again, it takes our whole team to make those numbers grow and head in a positive direction. Aaron does a great job as Chief Human Resources Officer. Jeff Fletcher is our new Executive Director of Human Resources. Has been a great addition, and Jenny Mears is our Coordinator of Recruitment and Retention. It's also been a wonderful, positive addition, all working together to help us head in the right direction. So thank you all for your help, and thank you to the board for your support. Okay, our next item under old business, we annually bring back to the board a facilities update, a bond update, a summer project update, kind of lots of things rolled into one this time of year, and this year is no exception. The only exception is that this one is going to be a little more involved. Lisa Kester is here to take the bulk of this presentation. You know, Lisa has been with us for a long time. Lisa retired, and Lisa is back, so she's seen a lot of these projects get started. She took a little hiatus, and now she's returned to see a lot of them through. The magnitude of the projects that Lisa and the team has undertaken has really been immense, and they've done just wonderful work. You're going to see in some of the pictures and hear some of the updates about a lot of the awesome things that we've been able to put forward here, and some things that are still in progress. So Lisa's going to take us through that. We have a couple things we're going to talk about. We're going to insert only because it's kind of appropriate. You know, we had that hailstorm, and we're still working on replacement of a lot of roofs that were affected by that. Those are all funded by our insurance company. We're going to include that portion at the outset of this presentation just because we think it's pertinent, but just wanted to highlight that those are insurance funds that are taking care of that. And then we'll go through and hit kind of the rest of the highlights from summer project, and including also other work that's been more ongoing from our 2022 $125 million bond issue. Lisa will take the bulk of it, and then I'll jump in at the end. I'll turn it over to Lisa.
Thank you, Dr. St. Pierre. Members of the board, like Dr. St. Pierre said, he asked me to give you an update. If you've seen the preview in your board packet, it's lengthy, so I'll try to get through it fairly quickly. But as Dr. St. Pierre mentioned, we started off with some roof replacements due to the insurance hail damage we had in 2024. We had 13 buildings damaged. We tried to take on to replace 8 roofs this summer. Working through the summer, Toby Klopfelter had worked with the insurance company, and we got through most of them, but we put off the ECC. It was just removed from the scope of work completely because we realized very quickly we could not get all this done. It was just too much to take on. So we will rebid that for a future summer project. But 3 of the buildings are completed. We have 3 buildings that are partially done. We're having to finish those up on weekends just because we don't like to do the work while the kids are in the building and be disruptive. Mike Clemens Center, that will have to be done during a holiday break or next summer in order to get that one done, but it's already been accounted for and we'll get it completed. So then what's left? Well, we have about 6 more locations to do. With this, we're going to work with the insurance company this fall. I'll start working through a bid package. We'll determine how much we think we can bite off again for next summer. And then we'll get those bids released, and I'll probably be coming back to you in the probably at the end of this year with some kind of bid package and let you know how that plays out. But I would estimate we'll probably have to go at least 2 or 3 more summers to get this done. We have a lot of square footage of roofing to replace. So that's kind of the summer, roofing replacements. Now going into Prop 4 overview, Just to recap, this was a $125 million bond. We approved it in 2022, and we tried to affect some of the 4 pillars of our CSIP that we had with our projects. So under the health one, we considered replacement of the rooftop of HVAC equipment to be improving the health and environment of our schools. So we did these schools here between 2022 and 2024. So that was 6 schools that we made large impacts on, and then we did some miscellaneous energy management and some equipment replacements that were needed. Then in 2025, just this summer, we did 4 major improvements at the elementary schools, and we did a smaller little bit at South Middle, but it did make a big impact there. So we have those finished. I thought I'd include a couple of pictures, kind of hard to see, but it's very interesting when you do these projects. We have to take apart walls and take units out of the 2-story part of the building and get it down, so that's kind of interesting. This is just to show you how much we tear apart, and then when we get it put back together, it looks nice, and they actually gain a little bit more space when those unit ventilators are out. Brian actually helped with this slide here. We tried to look at cost savings to let you know what kind of impact we're having when we do these HVAC improvements. We're getting rid of some equipment that's almost 30 years old. That equipment doesn't work as well as the new equipment. So when we looked at the energy savings, we looked at 5 buildings with brand new systems, and we found that we reduced our usage from 9.8 to 33.4%. So in summary, we're saving money because we're using less kilowatts. Sometimes that's not reflected in the bill because they charge you more per kilowatt than they did before, but we are actually saving some money going forward. So we're seeing, like for example, North High, working that out, it comes out to almost $41,000 annually that we've lowered our electric payments because of what we're saving. So they're costing money, but we're also going to save some money. The other thing we looked at too was cost impact on HVAC repairs. We looked at the 3 years prior to replacements were done at these particular buildings, and this is what we spent in HVAC repairs at each one of these locations. So in all, we spent $250,000 in HVAC repairs before we replaced it. And that's just only the 3 years prior to replacing it. So we're going to start seeing some savings in our bills from IFS for mechanical repairs. Moving forward, the board has already given us the permission to start working on next summer's HVAC. We're going to do 4 more schools. Hopefully we'll have this ready to bring to you at a December board meeting as well. And these schools are very excited about getting them replaced. And once we finish these, we will have 2 schools left with unit ventilators. And they are super excited to get this done. At East High School, we did a big interior improvement project this summer. We painted the entire school, classrooms and all, which also included replacing cove base, and then we replaced all the stair treads and the staircases, which made a big improvement at that school. They were going on 20-something years old, so they were showing wear. So there's a few pictures of the inside. It just looks nice and clean. It's hard to tell by the pictures, but if you get a chance, I'd go by and see it because it looks really nice. It looks nice and almost brand spanking new. Safety. Some things we did to help improve safety. We have put secure vestibules at Forest Park, Lewis Clark, Mount Hope, and St. Peter's. These are all the old schools that were built in the 50s and 60s. They didn't have an interior vestibule, so we created one. Our maintenance department worked really hard on that. Got that done. We've done security film, I think, at 8 buildings. We've upgraded building intercom and paging systems. We've upgraded fire alarm systems. We've replaced some more roofing at West High. And we've done 4 storm shelters. So we have gotten some stuff to really make some of these schools safer. And I think they're all great improvements. This is just a picture of North Middle, the new storm shelter there. This is to get in, the coiling door will shut. This is North High, the gym, and then the back side where the kids can go gather between the library and the gym. It's inside the gym. Again, it looks much better in person. It's hard to show it in pictures. Mike Clemens Center, this turned out really good. It's a nice place for the kids to gather. I think they have meetings and stuff in there, but they like that. Pheasant Point, this was the first multi-purpose room addition we did at the schools. And here's St. Peter's Elementary vestibule. We added those interior doors, and it just, I think it looks really nice without making it look like it's, you know, not, it's open. It's with the glass. Growth. Obviously, we've done additions. Between 2022 and 2024, we added on to the Mike Clemens Center, the North High Cafeteria, and the North High Gym and main entrance. So we've done those. And then at North Middle, the project that goes on and on. That's got this 2-story addition and the main entrance. That was completed in 2025. And then we started the demolition of the 2-story building over the summer. That's down. And we also, over the summer, did some new flooring. We enlarged the kitchen. We also finished the installation of a fire sprinkler system in the 400 gym, 400 cafeteria, band, choir, art, orchestra, industrial tech. So basically, the whole west side or north side of that campus is now sprinkled, which makes it a safer environment for those kids. And we added a new counselor office area. Here's just some pictures again of North Middle, the main entrance when you come in, really bright. I don't know if anybody's been in there yet. It looks phenomenal. It looks so good. The library got a lot of space. This is the pointing towards the bookcases, but on the other side they actually have a classroom area in there. This is where we're tying the new building to the old. We kind of kept, I don't know if you can see it, the ticket booth from the original 1950s gym addition, you know, that was there. So we kind of kept that. It kind of mixes the old with the new. So I think it looks good. But we still have work underway at North Middle. Right now, we're currently under construction doing the new cafeteria addition, which will include a new main entrance for the gym and cafeteria. And then we'll finish the final parking lot, which will give them a lot more parking space at that school. And that is estimated to be completed in January of 2026. So we're getting there. Our goal is to get under roof and get it watertight. Transportation is also underway. So this is going to be a great building for transportation. They're excited. They'll have 6 service bays, 233 driver parking spaces, 201 bus parking spaces, fueling island. The site work is ongoing, so if you drive by, it doesn't look like a whole lot's happening, but there is. We're doing a lot of site work, getting that done. They are hoping to have the parking lot for the buses completed by the end of this month. I think they might be running a little bit behind, but that was their original goal when we did this slide presentation. Then we're hoping to be under roof by the end of October, and we've started the installation of the fueling systems, but it's just an ongoing process for that. And we're hoping to have this project done by April of 2026. Here's just a couple pictures of the building going up, just to show you the slanted roof will be the administration and bus, where the bus drivers can meet and everything, and then the flat roof will be the garage bay. And this is just from the back of the building looking north. So, opportunity. With the bond, we've spent a lot of money making a lot of opportunities for the kids. We've added some fine arts. We've done upgrades at every auditorium. We've added instruments, or new instruments at the middle and high schools, and we're hoping to move forward with some elementary school improved fine arts, music. Technology, JB and them have done a great job. They've added smart classrooms. They have smart TVs now, and he's done a lot of infrastructure upgrades. So that's where we've spent some of our money. Athletics, done a lot for athletics. Field and tracks at east, north, south, and west have been replaced. Field lighting at south, bleachers at north and south high. Tennis courts at east and west. Gymnasium updates at south, west high, north middle, south middle. And then we bought some equipment, some large expensive stuff that they've needed. East High, what we've done there, I just wanted to show this off. This was the post-tension concrete. So we've got some overview pictures from Vernon Jones, or I'm sorry, McConnell and Associates that put this in. So this is them demoing the existing, or the old tennis courts. And then now we have the nice blue ones. They are really, really nice. Completed, I think the school's very happy with those. And they provided us with a drone shot of it as well. So I thought that showed off really nice. So Fort Zumwalt Prop 4 impact, as a result of all these projects, we have saved taxpayers on annual energy and repair costs. We've created quieter, more comfortable learning environments. We've improved the sense of safety for staff, students, and their families, and we've ensured continued opportunities for students to explore and excel in areas beyond the classroom. So when you change the environment, you can change the mindset. So I'm really proud of everything that everybody's done, and I think we've got a lot with what we've spent so far. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. St. Pierre.
Thanks, Lisa. And we'll have some opportunity for question and discussion here in just a few minutes here. I just want to kind of finish up the discussion and talk about where we go from here. But thanks to Lisa and team for all the wonderful work that you've done to get us to this point. Awesome job. The next slide just shows a little bit of a breakdown, if you would, Lisa, on just kind of where that money has gone into those pillars that Lisa mentioned earlier. Health, i.e. HVAC, about 35%, safety, 17%, growth as the next biggest percentage, which is those building additions, and then opportunity and miscellaneous round that out. So the next slide shows just kind of the current breakdown, and again, definitely want to have this discussion, revisit with the board, make available to the community in a transparent fashion where our numbers are and where are we right now. 2022, we passed that $125 million bond issue between interest and bond premiums minus the fees. We wound up, or will wind up, with about just under $140 million. When you look at total projects completed or allocated to date, and that's in essence about everything that Lisa went over. There are a few things that are not encapsulated there, just in the interest of hitting the majority of the highlights. But when you look at all those items that Lisa presented, we have either spent or allocated $107 million. Now that includes running transportation center all the way out, because we already have all the bids for that whole project, even though, as you saw in the pictures, it's not yet complete. That also includes the 4 additional HVAC projects that we have planned for next summer that you all at the last board meeting approved us to get going with that design work. And that includes an estimate, that $107 million includes an estimate for those 4 HVAC buildings, those buildings in which we're replacing HVAC units, let me say it a little better. And so that was North Middle, Pheasant Point, Rock Creek, and Westoff Elementary. And that $107 million number also includes finishing out North Middle School. Even though there's still some work to do, we have the bids, we are confident that we can get a good close number with where that'll end up in actuality. So what that leaves us in this 2022 bond, as you can see there, that bottom number is $32,798,336, or a pretty close approximation thereof. Okay. Wanted to talk a little bit about some of the factors that have impacted us adversely as we have gone through this bond project here. You know, we ran this bond issue in 2022. It was actually delayed a year from when the initial onset of planning had started. However, we started planning for this bond issue in 2019. We probably all remember 2019. A lot's changed in the world since 2019, but that's when we started planning these projects, okay? And I just wanted to point that out. So things that have changed, you know, we have seen workforce shortages, we have seen reduced number of bidders for projects. Why is that important? Because when we bid large projects, and we are accustomed to getting 8 to 10 companies to bid on that work, and that number turns into 2 or 3, those, you know, typically that's known, and we don't feel like the contractors bid that out as aggressively as they might have when they're competing against 10 or 12 other companies. So that, we believe, has been reflected in the bids that we've received. We've seen inflationary pressures that include increases to contractor wages, material costs, just escalation in general at a higher rate than was anticipated when we started putting this project together. Some changes to legal requirements and building codes, And again, many of these projections were just built prior to the pandemic impacts being fully realized. Also, we have seen kind of an escalation of needs for our HVAC systems. And that's been highlighted this summer. You know, we started off the school year with a rough stretch. We got hit with another rough stretch of heat. If you've ever driven by one of our elementary schools, thankfully there aren't too many of them left, and you see sprinklers running during the school day, that is our Band-Aid to try to keep those unit ventilators going, to try to cool the air before it gets pulled into the unit, to try to keep those units functioning, okay? So we have fewer of those because Lisa and team have done a good job of working towards replacing those units. Again, we've got 4 more that'll get replaced here next summer, but we still have a couple that are of concern. Those are just old units. They're into their functional life. We are renting portable air conditioners from rental companies, and our maintenance teams are running those around, hooking them up in classrooms and doing the best we can to keep kids and staff comfortable during these hot stretches. Well, we've got more work to do there, but that has escalated, I think, at a quicker rate than we were originally thinking. I do want to note that while some of these factors have influenced things, when we look at our bids, when we took all these major projects out to bid, there is a minimal variance between the bid amount and the actual cost. When we go to pay all the final bills, they are in line with our bids, okay? And, you know, there are minimal change orders. It's all within the expected variance, 3 to 5%, in some cases much less than that. But we were able to keep those projects in line with our bids when they were presented. What's next? So, when we look at what our known needs are, and when we combine those with projects that we've discussed in promotion of this bond issue, we're realizing that we have more needs than we have funds available, okay? These are the known needs that we have, and or some of the projects that were discussed in the formulation of this bond issue, which again, we started thinking about and gathering estimates for, projections for in 2019. So I mentioned the HVAC. We have HVAC replacements that are needed in 2 to 4 schools. That, you know, that number is going to get closer to 4 the longer we keep talking about it, because those units just get older and older, obviously. But we know Osman and MG, those are those will be the 2 remaining schools with unit ventilators, and they're just at the end of their lifespan. We've got other critical schools that are right behind them, DeBray Middle, West High School. Those sets of equipment are all at the end of their reasonable lifespan. Parking lot replacement and repairs. We have got to do a more thorough job of staying on top of our parking lot replacement and repairs. That includes, in some cases, seal coating and striping. That needs to be done on a routine basis, and in some situations, it's complete replacement because we've got some parking lots that are just in really bad shape, and we need to pull those out and re-asphalt or look at other options to get those back up to standard. Lisa mentioned security vestibule construction at our schools that we have done. We have 1 elementary school we've yet to touch, and that's Jail Mud Elementary School. It's got a unique challenge there because we're going to have to build out to make that one happen, whereas everything else I think we've kind of built in. We have not had to expand the footprint. So when you talk about expanding the footprint of that building, that takes it up to another level as far as what the cost goes, but that's important that we continue to look at safety and security, of course. Storm shelters. When we talked about this original bond issue back in 2019 and through 2022, we discussed putting a storm shelter at every elementary school. Okay. Now we have added storm shelters at North Middle, at North High School as part of that renovation, as part of those renovations that we've done, because the code now requires it, and it also requires that we have a self-sustained, basically, portion of the building that has HVAC, its own electric, et cetera. But when we talk about storm shelters, we've also realized that we may want to look at redesigning how we use those. Because at Pheasant Point, we have a big box that sits at the end of the building, and it's probably not used a whole lot other than, for drills and if we should happen to have really bad weather. So we've talked about, is there a way that we can redesign those, make them more dual usage, maybe as a classroom addition as well. That's probably a good way to go, but it's going to be a little more expensive as well. We also talked about a district natatorium. Okay, that was on the topic of the original list of projects for the bond issue. We need to continue with roof repairs and maintenance. Again, much like with HVAC, we have some roofs that are in some pretty critical need. While our insurance replacement is kind of helping us a little bit indirectly, we have other buildings that are in need of replacement and maintenance. We're also encroaching upon what we call just comfortable capacity issues at some schools. We've got some anomalies going on where we've got some schools that are getting a little more comfortable, I guess we'd say, than we would prefer, and we'd like to maybe look at some opportunities to have some relief. Maybe that's an option for a storm shelter / classroom addition combination. We always want to look to continue to increase security enhancements. We always need to be improving in that area. And then just with 33 buildings, things happen. Just like in your homes, unexpected repairs and maintenance pops up, and we got a lot of homes that comprise our footprints of our campuses, and so just knowing that there will be unknown issues that come up. So when you look at all of that, the scope of all of those discussions, it's very evident. We go back to that next slide there, I think, Lisa. Just to refresh, we've got $33 million available. When you look at the scope of all those projects that are either needs and or things that we have talked about in relation to the 2022 bond issue, those are going to far exceed the funds that we have available. So we're at a point where we've got to kind of re-examine our priorities. We also have a comprehensive facilities needs assessment that is taking place right now, and we hope to get that report in about the end of October. That Corey and Clark is completing right now. We hope that's not going to give us a whole lot to add to this previous list that I just shared with you. It's possible, but we hope it's not. We hope we've kind of captured the essence of the big things. The thought being that's going to primarily inform the next step moving forward beyond that. But conditions have changed. We're at a point where we want to reprioritize. We need to reprioritize, and again, we just simply know that we can't do all the projects that were listed on that prior slide. Not asking for action now. Again, just wanting to have an open discussion and share in a transparent manner with the board, with the community, where we are, and start to talk about where we go from here. So again, this is not an action item. This is just discussion on our part to kind of get you all up to speed as to where we are and start talking about where we go from here. So with that, happy to have any discussion or hear any thoughts the board might have.
How far over the 32 or 33 million would we go? Kind of estimated what that would look like?
To run all that down, if we were looking at storm shelters at, say, every elementary school and rounding that out, we would be at adding 14 storm shelters. The Pheasant Point came in at about $2.5 million, so that reasonably is going to go up a little bit because of escalation. Our pool, we did very preliminary work with our architects we did some site visits on school districts that have pools. We did enough preliminary work to determine what's a footprint of the pool that we want, and that we would need, that we feel like would be a good natatorium for our school district, and that was about 30,000 square feet. Our architects then can take that number, punch it into a calculator, and they estimate that's gonna be about $25 million.
For 30,000 square, that's not much bigger than a grocery store.
Yeah, yeah,
I
30,000.
think about what we have at Redplex.
Yeah.
It's Olympic style.
Yeah,
Why we
yeah,
have
yeah. So, you know, HVAC, we're thinking if we go all 4 of those critical buildings, would be about $10 million, probably a little bit more, parking lot replacements. And again, we're talking about the critical areas for HVAC. We're talking about the critical areas for roofing. We're talking about the critical areas for parking lots. So there's more we could do, but when we're talking about the critical areas, 10 million for HVAC, probably $1 million for parking lots that are critical, probably $3 million for roofs that are critical. And again, the storm shelters, you know, if we're looking at $3 million times 14, that gives you an idea there. So
What is the cost for the transportation center, roughly?
yep, I can tell you that, if you bear with me here.
You know, Lisa, were those pictures taken this week or?
They were taken by last week.
Bless you.
I think it was 11.
So, yeah, transportation center, we projected that cost to be $10 million, and it's gonna come in at just under 14 million. Okay. But again, coming in, you know, we think really
Who
close
is
to
that
our lowest
architecture
bid.
firm?
I'm sorry,
The architecture firm? or
that was
construction-
Cordigan Clark.
We pretty certain that they're gonna hit the due date?
Well, they're just the architect, it's LCS is the general contractor. And yes, I do feel confident, barring any major weather delays, we're coming into winter, so they're working really hard to get the bus lot poured in and getting the infrastructure in and getting it under roof before winter hits. But yeah, they feel pretty confident, and I think we've got a little wiggle room there because it's April. We won't transfer the transportation over until probably, the thought was maybe summer.
Yeah.
So,
Probably the last day of school, we'll have all the drivers drive the buses over to the new site and leave them there. That's kind of our plan.
Well, it's certainly unfortunate, but I think it's better to know what you're working with, so you can kind of go back to folks and help prioritize. We have tos, you know, we have to keep our district and our patrons expect a certain level in their accommodations and their buildings, and parking lots and those classrooms. We just have to maintain those. Security, obviously, gets more important every day. So if we have to start not doing some of the more that are wants than our needs and really should do's, then we have to do that. Whether, I'm sure to ruffle feathers, of course, but I think the thing to remember is, I mean, those were good faith estimates, right? Those were the hopes. Lots of things have changed over that time. I got a bill today, you know, no home insurance is gonna be covering wind and hail damage like they have before. Those deductibles are going way up. So the cost, I don't think we could have projected everything. But we just we got work to do. We just need to start talking to folks, including patrons, and find out, okay, if we can't do it all like we wanted to, what's most important to you? What's most important to make sure it doesn't impact our students any more than it has to, and our staff? Because we've got too many good things going with all the work we've done in our staff recruitment and retention, and working with our association and the rest of the staff to try and be more competitive. You know, we got to keep those conversations going and make sure that we, you know, keep what's most important at the forefront. And if that means we don't have a pool, it's unfortunate, but I'd rather have storm shelters at buildings first, if it was me. So we just have to be smart, and certainly we gotta have HVAC that works. That's a non-negotiable. So some of these things, it just, you know, they have to happen, whether we like them or not. So I appreciate you bringing it to us early enough that we can get some people's input on where to go from this. And all you can do is be transparent about it. It happens. Let's dig in and say, okay, what are our priorities with the money that we have left? Still got a nice chunk of change. That's the good news, right? Maybe not as much as we would hope. We can't get all the bells and whistles, but hopefully we can get some of the bells and all of the door knockers at least.
Jeff, I appreciate you bringing this to us. With my little quick math, it looks like we need almost 3 times as much to be able to do this. I'm glad that we're getting that assessment done so we can have a good look at what our needs and stuff are. And I'm with them to get as much input from our community, our staff, our students as we possibly can, to be able to properly prioritize.
Okay, we can look at a mechanism to get some feedback, via a survey, send out to our community and see what kind of feedback we get on that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, new business, stop loss insurance recommendation. I will say before Brian tells us what stop loss insurance is, I just want to recognize Brian for all the innovation that he's bringing to our finance office and looking for ways that he can make sure that we're spending our money in the most efficient manner possible while still balancing that with, and many times, increasing the benefits that we're able to provide to our employees. So this will be an example of some of those cost-saving measures here. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, thank you for saying that. That might be Henry's nice way of saying, hey, there's an egghead that comes into my office once a week really excited. Stop loss is for our self-funded insurance plan. We pay all the claims out. But say there's, a tragic case of cancer, premature baby, they cost more. So then after $350,000, stop loss insurance kicks in, and I know based on your faces, $350,000 seems like a lot. We probably on a given year have 4 to 5 members exceed that with the potential of 10 to 15. So we need this insurance to cover when someone goes over. And an important part of this coverage too is a concept that the stop loss insurance calls lasers. They look at your claims. We're coming to you in September because they wanted claims through August. And they say, oh, this person's likely to be $1 million claim. We're just gonna laser them out. We're not gonna cover them, but we'll cover your other 3,000 people. So we looked at this from 2 perspectives. What's our potential liability from lasers plus what's the claim cost? And we put it out to bid. We were fortunate to be able to do that. We haven't been able to bid out stop loss in years because it was always tied to our Aetna contract, but we renegotiated our Aetna contract last year that allowed us to separate these. So we put it out to bid. We had 7 carriers come back. The Symetra offered the best option. They were the lowest price, and they had no lasers. So between the 2 of those factors, going with Symetra is going to probably save us $500,000 to $600,000 this year. Whereas, if the lasers don't happen, it's going to save us $50,000 from the next. So to me, Symetra is a no-brainer. I was very excited to get a bid. Our broker told us we were the only decrease in stop loss insurance last year, which I unfortunately look at that to mean we probably paid too much last year. But now that it's been out, we know going forward we won't be paying too much.
Question, the lasers, so because that's just fascinating me and kind of disturbing at the same time, right?
It's very disturbing.
Yeah. So in a self-funded case like we have here, so if they would laser somebody out, that doesn't mean those people don't have insurance anymore. It just means the district's gonna be on the hook for all of it.
Yeah.
Which could drive your costs way up, which goes against why you have stop loss
Exactly.
insurance in the first place. So having no lasers is huge. So thank you for negotiating that.
Yeah. When we do no lasers, there's another thing coming out, the genetic therapies, they're medicines that cost over $1 million, so we make sure there's no lasers on therapies as well.
Yeah, and I also wanted to make sure everybody knew nobody was gonna be losing coverage, whether they were
yeah.
lasers or not. People will still have insurance, doesn't matter who's paying for it though.
I was gonna, we can switch this vendor, and nobody in the district will know except 3 or 4 people in the business office, because it doesn't, those are my favorite types of ways to save money.
Right. Thank you.
All right, I need a motion to approve the stop loss insurance recommendation. Dr. Marion, second. Mr. George. Any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Whittle is back up. He presented at our tax rate hearing and now has a recommendation.
Yeah, I would just recommend that the tax rate's approved, sorry, I don't have to, at $4.12, or 0.1262 cents. Because you gotta go the 4 digits out. Is there any questions or?
I need a motion to approve the 2025-2026 tax rate recommendation as presented. second, Ms. Byrd. Any discussion?
I would like to just remind, or thank Brian, because I know there was a voluntary decrease, what we could have, compared to what we could have done with the debt service. So that's, we could have had a little higher than that, so I appreciate that. I'm also happy that we're 4 out of 5 as far as the lowest one in the county. Because that's always, and I don't want to do a long thing here, but schools are expensive. Our community expects good schools, so we're always riding that dance of, you know, how much money we need for that. So I think that does show that we're trying to be fiscally responsible, and I appreciate that, so.
Mr. Pratt?
Yes, what was the tax, the dollar rate that you're proposing? You said it was 4 point what?
1262.
Last year?
2343. So I didn't have it written down to the
Definitely 2,
fourth
3.
place. Yeah. So it's about a 2.5% drop in the rate from last year. When you look at just the operating rate, it's a lot lower with the debt service staying flat here.
Got a lot of new construction going on in the district.
Yeah. There's about 30 million added to our AV just from the construction last year.
Remind us, how much of that do we get to recognize?
So I only see the number of what we get to recognize.
I gotcha.
When you look at those chapter 100s, TIFs, it's a black box of
You
information.
get that a lot because you're not able to get all of the new construction money that you would otherwise be. Is that's wrapped up in Hancock? Or is that a different law? I can't remember.
It's a different, so chapter 100, 150, it's,
Yeah.
essentially it's a economic development tool for a county or a city to use. We just have no say in it, it's just kind of given. But the way I look at it is, that building wasn't there beforehand, so we weren't getting the taxes.
Sure,
At least we're
absolutely.
getting
It
half
just
now.
limits how much you can get from, you can't get a
Yeah.
windfall, so.
But and that's 30 million that of construction that is complete.
Complete and added to the roll.
We got more coming. We got some more coming. We're
Yeah.
totally matured.
Which means more kids.
Yeah. I will say, the only time I do throw a fit about those is when it's for a residential property. You know, when they build an apartment building, it's really bad to a district if they put a tax break on it, because we're gonna have a lot of kids and
A lot of kids.
revenue to offset them.
And that's the trend now. I mean, our countywide, we're seeing much more apartment-type complexes
Yeah.
going in than single-family.
Well, just down Bryant Road.
Yeah.
I
The,
go down there, they're popping up everywhere.
the city I live in gave a $350 million tip to add 5,000 residential. I could say no one was that happy in our area.
Yeah.
Last year's tax rate, 4.2346.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Rounding out new business, Mr. Jeremy Moore has some policy updates, and this is kind of hopefully the last for a little bit in terms of policies that need to be updated as a result of legislation changes that happened over the summer. So Mr. Moore has presented those to you prior to this meeting, but is here to make a formal recommendation.
Yes, thank you, Dr. St. Pierre. You had a packet that was provided to you a couple of weeks ago. Really within this policy update, IGDAA is actually a brand new policy that came out of Senate Bill 63, which was the one that was passed right at the end of the Legislative Assembly. We will probably see an aftermath of this with regards to policy development for the better part of a year and a half, just because there are some dates that go into next year that we have to make some implementations on. This one in particular, in that policy that I just noted, is that policy drives these other changes too with the other policies that are noted in the packet. So with Senate Bill 63, one of the big changes was that for after-school athletics and sports, that it is now open, it will be available for homeschool students, for what they call FPE students, family-paced education students. Those are students that are accessing vouchers. And then, well, this is probably a small percentage of students for us, but also our virtual students. So students that were enrolled in school for virtual that was not they could have been a resident of Fort Zumwalt, but they may have been attending a school that was not our virtual carrier. So we do have some students that attend They are students in the Grandview School District because Grandview School District, the carrier that they have is Missouri, I believe that one is Missouri Virtual Academy. Those students before were unenrolled from our district. They attended the virtual school district through Grandview. They were not eligible for MSHA athletics. They now will be. So this kind of encapsulates all three of those students. Again, we met with the ADs, Mr. Schulte and I, and Dr. St. Pierre. We knew this was coming. It was a little bit of kind of the Legislative Assembly passed the law, then MSHA, because all of MSHA's regulations and policies were not in line with this. So then we had to wait for them to pass their bylaws. So essentially that's the superintendent, athletic directors, all then had to, they had a yes vote. They had a choice to do yes or no, but when the state law drives it, you're gonna vote yes. So we kind of had to wait for all that to happen to get this in front of you. These policies will go into effect tomorrow. You know, like usually when we bring policy to you, that's for the next school year. This has to go in effect immediately. This, I will say, in talking with the athletic directors prior to the sports season, really odd, right? We have a sports season that starts at the beginning of August, and they're changing a state statute, and then MSHA had not caught up yet. So we very well could have had students that didn't get to access this that maybe wanted to. That was not the case. Any student that would have fell under these parameters were given access to that. So we made sure of that the student wasn't denied, because we knew that this was going to be the case. This law was going to drive this. Ironically, we had one, and a couple weeks into the season, they wanted to go to school, public school. So, so that's and have a few on the radar, I think, for spring sports and for winter sports. So I think the virtual one will be an interesting one to watch, because again, those were students that were never enrolled with us. They were not even, we would not even known if they wanted to play sports or be a part of a MSHA-sponsored activity, because they were unenrolled Zumwalt kids, and that won't be the case now. So yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that as well. Yes.
I have a question. So the way you're talking about it's very much about sports and stuff, but when I read this, it's also talking about fine arts and other extracurriculars. So this is across the board, right? So for everyone, for all the other areas, they would be able to start tomorrow if they wanted to, right?
Yes, actually, they already have. I mean,
Okay.
we would have already allowed the students to begin, so would not have made them ineligible because of this, because, you know, again, when the state law changed, we knew that, and then MSHA changed the bylaws, it's kind of a bit of a foregone conclusion. But that does, I mean, it's a great point that you pointed out, because band is one of these where it is tied to the curriculum. So they're under the bylaw and under the new policy, if it is a band student, they do have to be enrolled. If the enrollment, if the sport says they have to be in a curricular class, such as marching band, they do have to be enrolled in that one class in order to participate in it. We don't have many activities like that, but band is one of those. So that is in MSHA's bylaws and in our policies, that's specified.
Because you can't do one without the other.
Correct, yes.
All right, I need a motion to approve the policy updates as presented.
Motion.
Mr. Pratt, second, Mr. Helms. Any discussions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Last, we have comments from the board. I'll start with you, Dr. Marion.
Thank you. Just a couple things. I want to congratulate the writing partners of Dr. Pat Brown, our Executive Director of STEM and CTE, and Dr. Kevin Grauer, Principal at South High. They're now published authors. They co-authored an article focusing on helping teachers welcome students back to school in a way that channels real-world determination. So thanks to you both for finding pathways to equip teachers to excel. And then also I want to point out Tuesday was National IT Support Professionals Day. Thank you to our team of professionals for all they do, from our technology infrastructure to device management and cybersecurity, customer service you provide our staff and students every day is greatly appreciated. Even you, JB. Thank you. So, great job by all our IT folks.
Mr. George?
Yeah, I wanted to thank everybody, starting with administration, teachers, staff. We're off to a really good start to the year. And one of the teachers that's really stuck out is MG teacher Bridget Evans. She had a partnership with the St. Louis Blues that had students competing with Louis the mascot and learning from former Blue Jamal Mayers. They stopped by to share the Street Blues program with students and staff, encouraging all to explore opportunities in sports, practice healthy habits, and staying positive in school. Incorporating these lessons into PE classes has been an incredible way to promote self-growth and community building among students. And we really appreciate our community partners. And we hear the issues with the graduation of the track meet. I mean, we'll try to look at that and see what we can come up with. But one last thing is, with all the violence lately, we need to dial that back and just listen to each other and try to come up with solutions instead of being part of other problems. That's all I have.
Mr. Pratt?
Sure. We have a student at East High School, a sophomore, Lydia Arts. She's been named, she's a violinist, and she's been named to St. Charles County Youth Symphony Orchestra. 100 members, grades 2 to 12. They break them down into 3 different ensembles based off of age level. So congratulations to Lydia Arts. Also, I think we have 12 new bus drivers training right now.
Yeah.
Is that right? 12 new bus drivers. I mean, very well needed. Thank you, welcome. We appreciate the heck out of you, and stick around. And last but not least, my sympathy and condolences to all the women that are grieving Robert Redford's loss. The loss of Robert.
Thank you. By the time we meet next month, each of our 4 comprehensive high schools would have celebrated homecoming. Details can be found on each school's website. Thank you to the partners who make these events a community celebration. We're wishing everyone a fun and safe homecoming season.
All righty. Thank you to the admin, Brian. Great work today. Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming out. First thing I have is West High softball team. They were ranked number 8 by Sports Illustrated this past week in Missouri's top 25 state rankings for girls softball. They entered this week at 13-4, so hopefully they can continue that or improvement. Before we meet again, concert season will be here. Many are free in the community. You can find a list of all of those events on our school websites. We do encourage you to get out and check them out. It's a pretty good time. So I think they have food trucks and stuff out there now too. So it definitely makes it enjoyable. So, right there.
We're halfway through our first quarter and the fall activities are well underway. You can keep up with our high school athletics and performances on their activities website. Use the button on any high school website to connect. If you have bookmarked our activities website in the past, you will want to access the new sites this way for schedules and more. Use this menu to find the page for your favorite sport. It's much better. Thank you. All right, thank you all for coming. Appreciate it. With that, we are going to go into, we're going to adjourn, go into closed session. Please note this concludes our agenda and we will not return to the open session after closed session. I need a motion to go into closed session in accordance with RMSO 610.021 to discuss the approval of the minutes from our August 21st, 2025 closed session meeting, hiring and firing, and promotion of personnel. Ms. Byrd, second. Mr. George, roll call, please.
Mrs. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Helms?
Yes.
Dr. Marion?
Yes.
Mr. George?
Yes.
Mrs. Byrd?
Yes.
And Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Okay, see you in a minute.